There are things a man can do and things a man cannot do. And one of the things that I cannot do is navigate the tangled mess of spaghetti highways that is the East Bay. East of San Francisco, that is. Anyway, Yosemite, here I come. I made it to Yosemite, which I've never been to before, and I have to say, I figured it was a big park, but I didn't know how big it was. I just went and talked to the lovely rangers at the campground reservation building right at the gate, and you know, we narrowed it down to a spot that would be good for me to go camping. And the ranger says, okay, we'll drive about 8 miles until Tioga Road, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and take a left on that, and then drive for about an hour. And I'm just really surprised. The park is just that big, and I think that's only about halfway through. I've got about 250 miles left on my tank of gas here, and I'm kind of hoping that all in all, getting to this campground and out, I won't run myself out of gas. But I'm gonna stop talking now and just enjoy this drive.
So I drove, and drove some more. I should make it known that at no point in this trip did I have a reservation anywhere. So while I was desperately wanting to stop and take photos of the scenery along the roadside, I knew that if I didn't find an available campsite, I'd be sleeping in the car and outside of the park boundaries. So I stayed focused on the task at hand and eventually made it to the Tuolumne Meadows campground and set up camp. Then, after the initial adrenaline of rushing to find a campsite had worn off, I decided to grab my gear and take a walk. I spotted a little path that led towards the meadows from the campgrounds, so I decided to follow it and see what lay ahead of me.
Well, I managed to escape people, and I'm walking currently towards Soda Springs, I think it's called. Just kind of taking a walk in the evening light, and brought along the camera gear, and if something happens to jump out at me, I'll take a photo. Why did the GoPro stop recording? What is going on here? Okay. So, on the way out, I happened to cross this incredible mountain. I don't know what it is, but it's got this amazingly sharp summit. And because the hills in front of it, the sinking sunlight is just creating these streaks across the foreground. And where I am, in this meadow, everything is in the shade. So I've got these wonderful, some kind of coniferous something or other in the foreground. You can kind of see it in the center there. Here, let me zoom in. So I've got these silhouetted pine trees in the foreground, and then these stripes of light going across the mountain leading up to the peak, which just has a little bit of sunlight hitting the western side of it. I think people go to the iconic locations because they're iconic, and there's just, you know, they're breathtaking. It's amazing. But I think, having spent only about 3 hours here, I feel like I'm already starting to understand that it's not necessarily the iconic photos that you need to go and photograph. It's these things that you need to sort of accidentally stumble upon yourself.
So that was the first day of my trip. I drove a lot. I set up camp. I went for a walk. I took some photos. And I watched the sunset reflect off of Lambert Dome. The next morning, I'd get up ridiculously early to try to shoot sunrise in a location completely foreign to me. But that's a story for next time. Thanks for watching. That was okay, right? This is a really bad idea.